Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Filecoin. We're going to be doing a lower time frame video here. We do have a higher time frame video above, so check that out if you're interested in those moves. They will also help within the context of this video. Okay, so let's get into the price action and see what's going on. So I'm going to go over the bearish potential here first, and then we'll go over that bullish potential, which could be actually saying that we have a low point set here towards this zone of this $2.41, and we could either be looking to progress up as a three-wave move here, or alternatively this could become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to go over that option in a second, but we're going to go over the bearish options first. Now within this, what I'm looking out for is that potentially we have a fourth wave here, looking at this as a flat. Now if this is the case, we could be looking for a move down towards this 175 to this 104. Other targets are this 212 as a 0.382 of the wave 1 to 3, and this 618 here at this 0.84 region. Now we also do have the 1 to 1 of the wave 1, which is sitting here at this $1.50. So that could be quite an interesting level as well, potentially as a psychological level. It would also bring us into this green box if we see this price action break down in this way. Okay, so now if we are arguing that this is a fourth wave completed here, what we want to see is we want to see price actually maintain below this $9.51. And we want to see this actually starting to form good structure. So how can this play out? So if we're looking at it in this way, we could argue that we're having extension here where this is 1, 2, and then we're actually starting to extend out. Now, the key thing here would be we'd want to see a move down towards this $2.45 for more confidence within this, where we would be looking for a 5-wave move past this zone of this 1618, looking for an additional fourth and a fifth, which could actually, if we look to only move towards this zone here, would be this $2.20 to this $1.86. So this would be slightly above our target box, but because of the fact that the waves internally here could also be extending out, we need to just be aware that where I'm counting this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This could actually be 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we break down in a bigger way, which actually looks to push us past this zone. So we have to watch how this develops. But at the moment, this is how I'm counting this drop to the downside. So I'm actually going to come here into the smaller time frame, and we're going to get into these moves. So what I'm treating this as is 1, 2, 1, 2, and then looking at this move in isolation here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if this is the case, invalidation of this comes by actually crossing this wave 1 area here, which would be at this $5.01. If we move back above this level, this would invalidate the idea of this fifth wave to the downside. If, however, we continue to hold this fourth, we could actually look to break down in this fifth wave. Now, looking for this 406 to this 382. Now, we can see here that we have a 1618, which is lower down towards this $3.45. So if we are actually looking at this as a 1, 2, 3 for the bigger count here and this bigger yellow third wave, we'd actually want to see a move lower down towards this secondary target box area that I've got here, which is sitting towards this $3.49 to this $3.23. Now, if we fail to do this and we just get a single 5-wave move to the downside here, what we could actually then see is a reversal to the upside and the alternative count where we're treating this as a corrective move. Now, there is also another way of counting this, which we're going to go over in a second, which would be looking for the potential that this becomes A, B, C, and then we see a 3-wave move to the upside and actually fail to take this high. So the key thing here will be maintaining this high if we are looking for that bearish price action. If we move back above that high, this idea of the impulse to the downside falls apart. Now, if we do get some extension here and this move pushes down towards this 345, what we'd then be looking for is an additional fourth and a fifth, which could look to push us down towards this $3.24 to this $2.96. Now, what I would want to see here is actually to see whether we push down deeper towards this $2.45 within this. Failing to do so, we'd have to just be a little bit cautious because it could still be a corrective structure. So even if we do form this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, until we actually take this low point, we need to just be aware that price still has that bullish potential, which we're going to go over shortly. So now within this target box that we have over here, what we do have is some levels that I'm keeping an eye on. So we do have the 0.618 of the move to the upside, which is sitting at this 407. Lower down, we do have this area of this 389, which is also sitting within this target box. Now, we do also have a daily naked point of control here at this 383, and this 397 is a weekly naked point of control. So if this does look to extend out deeper, potentially we could look to actually come back and challenge some of these levels. Now, if we do look to push down deeper for this alternative bigger wave 3, then we'd be looking for this 345. And what we'd want to see here is this actually take these lows out, and this would give us more confidence that we have had that fifth wave completed already. Really though, until we actually see a move back above the high, we always need to be cautious, because this could always become something else, where this even becomes a 1-2 or an AB, and then we still see price action fall off after that. So the other way that we could look at this move is treating this whole structure as a diagonal. We would argue that this is 1-2, looking for this as a third, fourth, and a fifth. Now, what we'd want to see here is this play out in three-wave structure. Now, with this third wave, it cannot cross this $2.01. If we see a move past this $2.01, this would invalidate the possibility of this. But the problem is that if we're looking at this and we're going to say that we're looking for a diagonal, we'd have to then argue that this is forming in a different way, where we're actually looking for this as an A wave. So if we were looking for that, what we would be looking for is the potential that we're actually forming a diagonal here. So this would be looking at this move slightly different, where before I was counting this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What we could also argue is that there is a potential to count this as A, B, and C. Now, if this is the case, what we could then see is that this is actually an A, B, C for 1. This is 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking for this as a fifth wave. Now, the reason I don't really like this is how this wave 2 is, but we could argue that this is A, B, and C. Now, the reason I don't like it is because this wave 2 didn't, the C wave didn't come up to that 0.618, but I'm just keeping an eye on it. It does fit within this count. Now, what I'd be looking for here is we have already overlapped this wave 1, and the wave 4 is still smaller than this wave 2. So this could actually mean that we see something along these lines, where we actually see this break down in another three-wave move to the downside. So what we'd be on the lookout for here would be effectively that within this structure here, we have an A, a B, and a C to the downside that we're going to be forming. Now, what I'd want to see here is within this, I'd want to see this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a three-wave move up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what we would not be allowed to do with this is actually push down past this 1-to-1, which is sitting here at this $3.20. An interesting level though, however, would be the 0.618 here towards this $3.77. This could be quite an interesting zone as a three-wave structure, looking to actually target out a 0.618 of this wave 3. So this would actually be here at this $3.77 area, which would be towards the lower end of this box, looking to take out these potential naked points of control that we have here. So what we'd want to see off the back of a move like this is we'd basically be looking at this as potentially then an A wave. We'd be looking for a B wave retracement. Now that B wave would actually be looking to push up somewhere in between this range here of this 596 to the 773. And what we'd want to see is this play out as A, this is B, and then looking for this C wave to the downside. So this 0.618 would be quite an interesting zone. It would be looking to potentially test some of these highs here, as well as the 786 is looking for a potential swing failure on this high. If we did see this as an ABC pattern in this manner, what we could potentially see is this move actually pushed down towards this 1-to-1, which would be here at this $2.06. Now, if we did see this push down towards this $2.06, it wouldn't have taken this low. So ideally, I want to see a move that actually breaks this low here of this $2.42 if we're looking for that potential of a diagonal. Now, the other way that this could play out is that this could actually become a 1 and a 2. Now, the diagonal can potentially be counted slightly different as well. We could look at it in this way here, which is slightly different, and what this is doing is basically treating this as a third wave that's not completed, where we treat this as A, B, and C for the third wave to complete, and then actually looking for this fourth and a fifth. So the key thing within this would be how we break down in this next move. If we break down in three waves, then the other diagonal is more likely. If we break down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we have this either a completed diagonal at that point where I'm looking for a three-wave move up and continuation, or alternatively we treat this as a corrective move as ABC, and then we're going to look to push up in the bullish count. So we're going to go over that shortly. Now, what we'd be looking for is the same thing here, targeting out this fifth wave target box here. And what we'd be looking for then would be a reversal to the upside. Now, this would be treating this whole move here as a wave 3, where this is 1, 2, all of this is 3. Now, this is valid for as long as price action does not cross this $3.78. If we crosses $3.78, this idea as a diagonal falls apart. And then what I'd be looking for would be a couple of things here. We'd be looking for this fourth wave to the upside now. Now this fourth wave cannot be longer than this point here of this $6.44, otherwise it would be bigger than the wave 2 and this would not be allowed. If we do see this play out as a three-wave structure, what we could actually see is a move back towards this 0.618 level here, which is sitting at this $3.35. This could also tie into looking at this move slightly different, where we actually treat this as within a channel. This could actually mean we see a move back up here into this top channel line, which would be here in this towards this $5.66. So we do have a 0.382, which is sitting here towards this $5.60. So that would be quite an interesting level to keep an eye on. As well as that, we have this target box over here of this $5.76 to this $5.34, where we could potentially even look to actually swing fail this high here towards this 572 level. So we'd have to keep an eye on this. What we'd be looking for here is a three-wave move up and then an additional three-wave move to the downside. If we did move up to the 618, what we could then argue is that we would see an additional fifth wave in three waves, looking to target out the secondary 618 sitting here at this $3.55. Now this 0.618 would be of the wave 3. So that would be what we'd be looking for there. Invalidation would come by across below this $2.76. So this is the two ways that I'm looking at the bearish count playing out. Okay, so if we were looking at this as potentially having a low point in here and looking to break to the upside, we'd be looking at this option here, where we'd be looking at this as either 1, 2, 3 if we get a move up towards this 37.31, or ABC if we get a move up towards this $16 region. So I would be keeping an eye on this support box here. If we do continue to maintain this, we could actually look for this push to the upside. So an interesting area here would actually be lower down towards this 406 to this 389. So that would be looking at this golden pocket area. Also, if we did move lower down, this area here of this $3.23 would be a zone of interest to me. Now, if we are completed here, we could be looking to break directly to the upside, though it would make more sense to me that we still have a little bit more to actually come down here. We're treating this as a W, this is an X, and then we'd be looking at this as A, B, and then actually looking for this as a C wave to the downside, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once again, we have the same idea here. Invalidation comes at this $5.01, and we'd want to see this price action start to break down here for a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now within this count, what we'd be looking for is the same target. 1-to-1 of the C wave is actually here at this $3.78, which would be back into the bottom of this target box like we discussed before. This is quite an interesting zone. If we do see this break down in this way, the key difference between these two counts is that this count will then look to actually move to the upside here and take this high. So if we do see this additional fifth wave here and we start to break up and we start to take out these swing highs here, particularly this one over here of this 650, it becomes more likely that we're going to see this continuation to the upside. Though we need to see good structure, we need to start forming a 5-wave structure to the upside for more confirmation of this actually playing out. Now, if we want to argue that potentially we're looking at this possibility of a breakout from where we currently are, we could argue there is the potential here that this is a 1-2. We have another 1-2 here, and we're looking to break to the upside. So, I mean, it is possible. We need to just be aware that we need to see the price action follow through. So, if we're looking at this as a possible breakout situation, what we would be looking at is this is 1, 2, this is 1, looking for a 2 here. Now, the key thing is here, it does look to see as though we have a 5-wave structure here. So what I would be looking for here is, because this looks like a 5-wave move, we would be looking for that potential of a 3-wave move up and then that continuation down. So really, as long as we stay below this 490, I would expect us to come down a little bit deeper into this, because we haven't even come into this 50%. This can sometimes happen though, when we're getting extension within the waves, we can see shallow retracements, but this is looking like a 5-wave move here. So what I'd be looking for is an additional 3-wave move to the upside, and then that continuation down in another 5-wave structure. Obviously, we have to be careful here, because if we do get this as a 5-wave move, a 3-wave move up, and then this 5-wave move moves down too far, crossing this wave 2, this would invalidate the possibility of this move to the upside. Really, once we start to lose this $4.42, it becomes less likely that we're going to see, continuation within this to the upside. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. We do have a target box down below here towards this $4.54 to this $4.38, which I am keeping an eye on here. This has some zones in it. We do have some daily naked points of control. At the higher end of this is 454, and then we also have these areas towards the lower range here where we have some daily and weekly naked points of control. So I would be keeping an eye on this. If we do move down, the 786 could be quite an interesting target towards this $4.42. Seeing this hold this point, what we'd then be looking for more confirmation is having a 5-wave move up here towards this 560, looking for an additional fourth 516 will be a rough area, and then looking for this 5th wave towards this 589 to this 571. The key thing here is if we're looking to break out, we need to see good structure, and we want to see good volume coming in on these 3rd waves here. And we would eventually look to potentially target out this 619 to this 593 area if this is developing as an impulse as I have it here. What we'd want to see then is if we do just get this as a bigger 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, we'd want to see a 3-wave move to the downside, looking to retest this zone of this $5.04 to this $4.54 area. I want to see a move back into some of this structure here. Possibly it could be shallow if it finds support higher above here. It depends exactly how the waves form, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. So looking at the weekly CPR here, we can see that we are above this central CPR line. We did, however, move up here and already retest this S1 line. So if we do continue to maintain above this area here of this 460 to this 450, what we could then do is actually see price action continue to move up, possibly towards this S2 line, which is at this 495, or even this S3 line towards this 521. Now, price can move through these levels. We need to just be aware of that. But sometimes what we can see is we can see reactions around these zones. So these shouldn't be used on their own. They should be used as confluence with other ideas. Now, what I'm also looking for here is if we start to break down here, what we could see is a move down towards this this R1 line, which is sitting here towards this $4.42, this $4.15, or even this $4 area. So this could actually tie into that idea of looking at that 5th wave location lower down here. So I would be keeping an eye on these as time goes on here. If we do look to break down below these levels and start rejecting off of them, it's possible we could actually see the price action start to fall here. Now, we have had a new CPR printed on the monthly, and what we can see here is that the spread on this CPR is quite tight. Now, what we could see here is as long as we remain below this CPR and we reject off of this, we can look for the potential to possibly move down towards this R1 line, which would be here towards this $4.11, the R2 line, which would be lower down towards this $3.53, and the R3 line towards this $2.86. Now, this is a monthly CPR, so it doesn't mean that this just has to happen today. These are just some price targets that over time we might see price react to. Now, if we did, however, start to move through this level and finding support here, what we could then see is a possible move up towards this $5.36, this area here of this $6.04, or even as high as this $6.62. So this would tie into that idea of actually seeing price starting to break out here. We would be looking at this as 1, 2, 1, and then possibly looking for this as a bigger 3rd wave to the upside, looking to actually target out some of these higher CPR lines. So these are not predictive in the sense that they'll tell you where price is going, because what can happen is sometimes price will actually come down, retest the R11, come up to this S1, and then move down to the R2, for instance, as an example. So we need to use them in confluence with other things. So looking at this whole area as a range, what we could see is that, price has actually held this value area low here. So what we could see is price could actually start to be attracted towards this point of control. Obviously, a move into this and rejection could actually signal that idea of a bigger sell-off. Alternatively, if we do see price action come back up here and start to reclaim this point of control, we could potentially look to a move up towards this value area high, which is sitting towards this 698 or the $7 area. So that would be a psychological level worth keeping an eye on as well. And then from there, we'd obviously have to see what price structure is doing. But this is just looking at, this range over here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find links to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.